Hey everyone, I hope you're doing well. Today, I'm very excited to say that I'm launching a new series called Caleb's Critique Corner. And in this series, I will have viewers, such as maybe yourself, submit 10 battles in a row from GBL, and I will critique it, provide feedback, and see if there's anything you could have done better. And I think this hopefully will be a learning experience for everyone, not only the people submitting their footage, but also for those watching. And this really spurred about through one of my interactions with one of the commenters on my last video where I hit legend, and their theory was that the content creators get a lot of perks from Niantic and they get matchups leading in their favor, and for those that aren't content creators cannot climb because they are purposely given bad leads or the game is rigged against them. And I said, you know what, send me 10 of your battles in a row and I'd be happy to provide feedback on it and see if really it's Niantic pitting everything against the player or if there's things they could have made changes to. In my mind, PvP is like most things in life. If you spend a lot of time to get better at it and practice at it and figure out where you can improve and where you're falling a little bit short, then you can learn from your mistakes and get better. I know sometimes GBL may seem like the game is rigged against you, but I can assure you that not only are a lot of the people on the leaderboard not content creators, many of these same players do very well in the official tournament format where they are not blind threes, they're show six, and they require complete skill. I actually got quite a bit of demand for feedback on people's battles, so I'll be releasing these videos throughout the upcoming weeks. Some of these battles will be for metas that are already over, but hopefully they'll be useful for the next time the meta is back in rotation or just for general learning purposes. If you want your own battles critiqued and reviewed by me, I'll tell you how to submit your own footage to me at the end of this video. Before we get into the battles, a big shout out and thank you to all my patrons who've been supporting my content creation. If you would also like to have early access to my strategies and lineups or see behind the scenes footage of my battles, feel free to sign up in the Patreon link down below. So I will be reviewing the battles in real time, so I'm going to watch the footage on my phone and go from there. So if you see me looking at my phone, that's why. And I have this sped up to 2x speed, and this is going to be a Rayquaza, Zacian, and Groudon team submitted from JesseFlo12. All right, going to this first battle here, not the best lead, but you pretty much can't swap out here. Oh, actually that's a great catch. Now, so although this is a pretty solid catch, I would say, I don't know what's in the back line here, but if you have a Heatran lead, in all likelihood you have Groudon checks in the back. So even though this is a great check, the problem is you're bringing your only check to Heatran right now in the beginning, and in all likelihood, the opponent is going to swap out and lock in this Groudon. That being said, I don't know what's in the back yet. I think this is not a bad strategy to catch a move if you put the Heatran in a range where the Zacian or the Rayquaza can easily take it out. Right now, it's pretty healthy because you went through a few Dragon Tails. So you do catch resisted Stone Edge, and as expected, a very hard counter to Groudon, right? Because Groudon won the most reliable checks to that Heatran. The problem here is this Dragonite can tank the Precipice Blaze pretty well, and they're getting a lot of energy here. Now, this is really scary because you have energy. You have to tank the energy probably on the Zacian at this point. You don't really want to come in Rayquaza here, right? So this is the right call. This might not be too bad because you come away with energy, right? So I think despite that first initial matchup... Oh, okay. Actually, no. I'm going to keep watching here. Yeah, wait, hold on. Let me see what exactly happened there. So I think the play here is, in my opinion, to just Snarl or Quick Attack down. They actually swap in Heatran. So in this situation, I don't know if maybe Jesse was trying to go for the combo play. You want to stay in there, right? Because you have Close Combat, which is the only move that's actually going to do any meaningful damage to this Heatran. Although these Breaking Swipes are adding up. You want to throw that because you could clear debuffs, force a shield, etc. This Rayquaza is really probably the best check for whatever is in the back. Because, yeah, you have a Dragonite there, and then you have a Heatran there, and Heatran is a counter to that Rayquaza, right? They didn't swap out initially, and they brought that in. My guess is probably going to be, could be a Kyogre in the back, could be a Mewtwo. Yeah, I would say one of those two is a likelihood. Let's see what they come in with. It's actually Lugia. Okay. yeah, that kind of makes sense too. The problem is there's just a lot of bulk here, and you don't have the wild charge. I think with wild charge, this could be a different story. Yeah, definitely don't want to throw close combat. But at this point, because they still have a shield, and they could tank a play rough, and you can't tank a sky attack from this range, it's a little tough. Yeah, this is, I think, yeah, in this situation, maybe you throw close combat. Oh, wait, is there a chance? I think in that situation, they were trying to catch a move, which was kind of unnecessary. Oh, wow, okay. So coming away with win there. So, I know that that was a win, but even, you know, in wins situations, there's still things you do, right? I think in that situation, you either try to catch a move on your Groudon after sacking it, after putting the Heatran in a range where any of your moves can take it out, or you just stay in with the Rayquaza and come in with Groudon afterward. I think if you do that, your Zacian has a ton of play into the Dragonite and the Lugia, right? You come in, you sacrifice the Rayquaza, debuff the Heatran a ton, farm down with the Groudon, and then finish off with Zacian. Of course, your opponent can potentially pivot out, but as you saw, the Breaking Swipe and the Dragon Tail damage actually does a lot to that Heatran. So, coming away with a win there, but of course, you know, some general pointers on how to play out that matchup. So, all right, going into this next battle here, let's see. We have ourselves, okay, this is not a bad matchup at all, actually, because the mud shots are just resisted. The breaking swipes are really going to add up. And they shield. Okay, that's really good. I like this shield back. You don't have too much to lose. I mean, they go superpower, then they're just debuffed, right? And now they come in Dialga, and you have exactly what you want here. This is not bad. Yeah, I probably just built to double close combats and then throw the close combat. Yeah, really great play here. Because if they shield, they spend their final shield, and you get another move off, and you get the quick attack down. Huge, huge, absolutely huge. You just throw the play rough. I love this. Even if it's something resisted, at least you get your move off, right? And it lands, which is even more perfect, right? Now, here's why this is such a good spot. Even though it's a Evolto in the back, right? It's going to resist most of the moves from the Groudon outside the Fire Punch. This is a big mistake from the opponent, actually, because they didn't swap out, and now their Evolto is permanently debuffed. And that is one of the worst situations to have in the end game. Because at this point, like, it's going to be debuffed so much that there's just really nothing you could do even against the Groudon. Yeah, I like this too. Just go straight for the Hurricane. Just finish it off, right? But yeah, that was well played. Really well played. No complaints there. All right, let's go into this third game here. Not a bad lead. The Dragonite is very strong into the Groudon, so and they have to spend their shield first if they want to do anything here. They don't shield. Okay, interesting. Honestly, this is not a bad shield. Here's the reason. They're kind of weak to the Rayquaza as well. Otherwise, they would have swapped out, right? Which means that your Rayquaza has some good matchup in the back. At this point, you're at the 50% health range. You shield, get one Dragon Tail, you could pivot out afterward, right? Maybe they have Ground in the back. Maybe they have a Kyogre in the back. All right, let's see what they have in the back, though. Yeah, you just want to wait out your clock here. Just come in. I would probably come in the Zacian anyway, because you could potentially close combat and dip out. Play rough is fine here. You could potentially even throw the close combat, because in all likelihood, they shield and just swap out. Because you don't really want to stay in this matchup too long. It's not a great matchup for the Zacian, actually. Okay, so they come in with the Metagross, though. I probably just pivot out right away, right? You don't really gain too much. It's not like you have a switch timer to worry about. But you're in a very good matchup here. Just throw the Precipice Blades. If they shield, really good, because you can just overfarm. But they don't shield. And now it's kind of a bait game. So Mewtwo gets to these moves pretty quickly, right? Oh, they actually went straight Ice Beam. I actually think that's a little unnecessary from the opponent's end, but we do get the bait off. And do you get to move? Yeah, we do get to Precipice Blade. So I think maybe a slight misplay from the opponent, because I think Side Strike, especially from Shadow Mewtwo, is almost enough. But again, we see that you can potentially preserve the Rayquaza there for the Mewtwo. You finish it off. You have the matchup you want, right? They come in Metagross there. You can swap still to the Zacian, which I probably would do, because the close combat at least can threaten, and then they probably come in either Mewtwo or they stay in. You come in Groudon, And then you can finish off both the Metagross and the Mewtwo at that point. Because they had to respect the close combat on that Mewtwo, or on that Metagross. Or it's going to just do a ton of damage. Alright, similar situation. So we get a chance to see if this plays out or not the same way. Let's see if Jesse plays different. Okay, I like this. So a switch up here. Obviously, they're not hearing my feedback live. Oh, actually, what? It's almost like the same exact team. That's kind of crazy. Yeah, I think the play is just to no shield this. Yeah, really great play because you don't want the Mewtwo, the Dragonite stuck here. Really good stuff too, right? So you know that you're not going to get hit by another Mew Mash. Just come away with as much energy as you can. 1, you reduce your own health. And 2, you come away with more energy for that Dragonite. You give the Dragonite less farm. And you have something to throw out the Dragonite, right? So it's really, really solid. Yeah, so now you get the Precipice Blade off. So now the Dragonite either has a shield in a matchup it's typically going to win or take a lot of damage. And I love this, right? You come in with the Zacian and you just build to double close combat. Zacian wins this matchup, and I love it. Don't shield the first move, wait till you're debuffed, and at this point, you just win straight out. I mean, they have to shield this. If they don't, you win. If they do, you still win because you get the second one off, and they come in. Yeah, this is really well executed, actually, all the way throughout. Now you just pivot over to Rayquaza. They have to throw the energy, and even if they do, you quick attack down. Really nice. Really nicely done there. All right. And again, shielding that Rayquaza in that lead matchup really paid off. All right. Excadrill. Yeah, this is the best situation at this point. You don't have any coverage moves on the Rayquaza. And again, you win this. Shields up. I like this too. I think he threw on 4 to avoid the CMP, which is really nice. Yeah, and you just let this go, right? Because the Mewtwo's going to just outpace after a while. All right, this is kind of an awkward situation. So you're just going to Dragon Tail down. This is going to do a lot of damage. It's not a bad shield. It's just that... So here's the thing. I'll just say this. Typically speaking, if you lose the lead, you safe swap. You want to come away with either you win switch, right? You're able to flip switch advantage, or you come away with the shield advantage, right? So maybe your opponent goes down 2 shields, they go down 1 shield, you have 2 shields left, etc. You have a 1 shield or 2 shield advantage over your opponent. If you safe swap, you don't win the lead, or you don't win alignment, right? So your opponent still has the switch advantage, and you're down a shield, like this situation. Yeah, you have a low energy out of Rayquaza, but it's not going to go that far on the Excadrill. In this situation, if you're down a shield and you don't have alignment here, your odds of winning are very, very low. All right, I don't know how this is going to play out, but typically speaking, unless Groudon's a huge core breaker, it's usually a game loss, right? And this might have been just a bad team comp in general. So, but yeah. So I say this because if you have a Groudon lead and they have an extra lead, they almost definitely have a Groudon check in the back, right? Let's see what they have. Yeah, very hard check, right? So this is really tough because Jesse's down shields and doesn't have alignment. Like, there's just no way you could win from this situation, right? But this is one of those situations where I think Jesse did everything they could. The only thing you could potentially try to do is not shield that Rayquaza, because the Rayquaza has no play into the Excadrill. Your only hope is that they are core break with the Groudon somehow. Like maybe they have a Dialga in the back. Maybe they have their own Groudon. You have an energy lead. Right, that's a really unlikely scenario given the team composition. But a Dragon in the back, like a Giratina or Rayquaza is possible. I think even if Jesse played it any differently in this specific matchup, there's no play because you just get hard countered throughout, unfortunately. So Mewtwo's not a hard counter actually, but to Zacian, but it was a good read by the opponent to just bring the Mewtwo in instead of staying with the Excadrill. But yeah, so I think in that situation, if it was a different backline Pokemon, I'd probably just not bring, I'd probably not shield that Rayquaza, right? Despite how much damage that does. Alright, still a 4-1 set though, so pretty good for the first 5 battles. Let's see the next 5. The one loss there was not much Jesse could do, so that's fine. Being able to recognize matches where there's nothing you could have done to win is also important, right? I think majority of times that's not the case, but alright, so great swap here. Looks like the opponent is maybe lagged a little bit, or maybe it's visual. Okay. Yeah, so here, optimized timings is very important. So you want to throw on 1, 4, and 7. We're going to take the first one. Hopefully not Origin Pulse. Alright, just reserve. Going to optimize. Really great optimization there. Getting the most out of your fast moves and getting the most energy there. Oh, flip switch advantage. Oh, that's massive. Yeah, you just let this go. I like this play. Save your shields. 2 shield Rayquaza, really strong. And Groudon is just going to do so well into this Melmetal. You just no shield it. They throw superpower, whatever. It's not a big deal. Yeah, you just keep letting it throw it. That's fine. What do they have in the back? Yeah, just throw the Fire Punch. I like it. Double debuff. This is going to do a lot of damage even if it doesn't take out. Yeah, almost finished it off. Oh, I love this. All right, yeah. So go straight for the press displays. No need to mess around. You have 2 shields here, and you can just start really debuffing this Dialga. And yeah, it's just pretty much over at this point, I think. You just shields, and there's just no way that this opponent can even take out the Groudon. The mistake from the opponent, 1 is probably giving up switch advantage, but 2, you just can't stay in that long with Melmetal. Like, you know, it's you want to at least try to rely on Dragon Breath damage. Yeah, that was well played. No complaints there. Really, really well played by Jesse. Some could say maybe you don't have to go for the precipice plays, but I think it's fine. All right, not a pretty tough lead actually. So let's see how Jesse plays around this. Go straight for the play rough. So this is good because you have the move. They don't catch a move. Now they're stuck in this matchup. The switch timers are really misaligned. I like this. No shield the first one in case it's a wild charge. It is a wild charge. Now you I would shield. Yeah, great shield. I would shield. And reason being, and maybe throw a close combat. Ooh, okay, yeah. Force a double shield. It's not ideal, but at least you flip switch, right? Hopefully you get at least 1 shield back. I'll probably just throw beforehand. Wow, they come in Yveltal? What the heck? Okay, they're really weak to this. I'd probably just go close combat at that point, because they can't snarl you down, right? So that way you could potentially force him to not farm as much. I mean, they still end up throwing. But they can't really take you out with snarls anyway. Okay. I like this. Yeah, they're really weak to Zacian. No wonder why. Alright, I like this play a lot because you force them to throw their energy, and now you theoretically should outpace to the Precipice Blades. Before Draco? Yeah. Yeah, Precipice Blade is just really good. So I like that play, actually. The only thing I would probably change... Yeah, you just win this. The only thing I'd probably change is that situation where they had the Zacian throw Wild Charge, right? Just as long as you keep track of counts here, because you had over a close combat at that point, you just want to throw so you don't have to spend a shield here, right? Unnecessarily. Obviously, the entry still came a far way, but usually speaking, going down 2 shields like that is not ideal. Oops, sorry, I am way too far. I just realized that. It's all one continuous footage. Alright, so... yeah, this is the match. We finished the Yveltal one. Yeah, Precipice Blaze to finish it off. And we have the Fire Punch. Other than that, and I think probably just throwing the close combat is fine, because again, Snarl is just not going to take you out. Snarl, Dragon Breath, like you can safely just go close combat there. The reason why you do that is so that you force your opponent to throw the energy sooner rather than trying to, you know, if you throw a more energy intensive move like Play Rough, they're going to feel more inclined to farm a little bit more, right? Okay, fantastic lead. And then they come in Dialga. I actually like this play. Oh, okay. The CMP is a little unfortunate, but I like this play because they're trying to draw out the fairy, right? Unfortunately, force the shield. That's fine. The Precipice Blade still does a good chunk of damage. Good timing there to avoid too much free turns from that Incinerate. And they have to throw their energy. They might throw a Brave Bird afterward. Okay, they throw a Sacred Fire, so they're not debuffed. So this is a real question. Do you shield this? And unfortunately, you do have to shield. Okay, and then now we come in. They have a Zekrom coming in here. It's debuffs. But the annoying part is they still have a shield. Sorry, my computer that's recording this audio went to sleep, so that's why I looked away. Alright, they throw Fusion Bolts. Man, this is a little uncomfortable. Yeah, because the problem is, how do you finish off this Ho-Oh, right? They still have a shield. So, I assume they shield this and then they throw a move at you. So what really went wrong here, right? There's a couple things you could have done, I think. One thing is you could potentially actually come in to this matchup, the Dialga with the Zacian instead. Of course, Zacian doesn't really have much play into the Ho-Oh, but the Groudon doesn't have a ton, right? So some of that residual energy does chip down the Ho-Oh, but it still doesn't make that big of a difference, right? Both Pokemon just have like resistant moves against it. If you come in with the Zacian, you can just build up a lot of energy. You have close combat too, right? If you have Play Rough, Wild Charge, might be a different story. You have close combat, you just do a bunch of quick attacks, tank one Iron Head, right? Because they can't Dragon Breath you down. Take out the Dialga, and then you have your Groudon for the Zekrom, and then you're good to go, right? That's probably the easiest play there. I think the alternative play is don't CMP the Dialga. If you don't CMP the Dialga, you come away a little bit with more energy for this Ho-Oh. So as you can see here, right after the Dialga was taken out, unfortunately Jesse had no energy, right? And because of that, the Ho-Oh can farm a lot more energy. So I think if you make the same play, you don't CMP there. You overfarm a little bit, especially because they bait you. It's fine if they bait you there. So just overfarm, throw a Precipice Blaze. You'll still get to it before they get to the Draco. But I think the easier play is just come in the Fairy, right? Come in the Zacian into the Dialga. And that way you have a lot more play. And you don't have to shield. You don't have to shield the Zacian, right? You could let one Iron Head go. Only start shielding if they start shielding. But yeah, that would be the recommendation. I'm trying to think. I don't think we saw a lot of other safe swap Dialga, so I'm not sure if that's how Jesse was playing it, or maybe it just that time was a little different. Alright, fantastic lead. And okay, so this time, really like it. Made the adjustment, right? I love it. Made the adjustment. And go sort of play rough. I don't hate this because you want to throw something, right? If they're not throwing anything. And then you can tank one Iron Head. I personally would let this go. Good. And then you throw the close combat. Gets a little weird if they shield, but yeah, so they are going to shield here. The Groudon is still pretty well positioned to do decent into the Giratina, but unfortunately you have to spend a shield. I think the way around this is instead of they actually have their own Zacian. So this is going to be a little interesting. You need this Groudon for sure. I mean, potentially you could get to Hurricane against a Zacian, but we do get a shield. And now this is where it's kind of a bait game. I like the no shield here. You got to try to make a call. But I think even if that was a Shadow Ball, might be okay. Let's see how much. No, Precipice Blaze is just not enough. That's fine. Just save your shield for the Rayquaza. I think their Switch Hammer's coming up soon though. Can you Dragon Breath tail down? Okay, yes. Can you get to the Hurricane is a real question. And if they don't have Play Rough, you might be in an okay spot. Okay, no, they do have Play Rough. Alright, let's see how much this Hurricane does. I haven't seen a Hurricane on a Zacian myself yet. And, ooh, just a little short. Just a little short. Alright. So, here's my recommendation. In this situation, you go for the Play Rough. You're at pretty much 100 NG. And they haven't thrown a move yet. Just throw back-to-back close combat. Because you take out the Dialga, right? They have to shield at that point if they want to get their move off. If they shield one of your close combats, you just shield and throw another close combat. Right? You're going to land at least one, right? I mean, if they shield both for some reason, that's kind of wild. But you're going to land at least one. So I think in that situation, even though Play Rough, yes, you don't debuff yourself, you're still going to, unfortunately, get outpaced to their Iron Head and have to tank a move, right? So I think the play is throw back-to-back close combat. If they shield, you match shields, you still win that matchup. All right. But I do like the adjustment to bring in the Zacian into the Dialga that time. All right, and going into our final battle here. Yeah, here we go. Let's see, Caps against Captain Obvious here. Okay, pretty solid lead unless it's Dragon Tail. It is Dragon Tail, but you're still in a better spot, I think, than the Garchomp is. They no shield. Okay. and they don't get a single move off. So that's pretty solid. And this is fine. I like it. Stay in. Don't give up switch advantage. And now you have the Metagross. I probably shield this. Does a good chunk of damage, right? You just don't want them to bullet punch you down. I don't know. So the problem is if they start shielding here, they bullet punch you down. Okay, they don't. All right. It's just kind of a risky situation, right? This is not too bad, actually, all things considered. All right, yeah. So you let the first one go. Yeah, again, this is kind of weird, right? Because you have to throw. I like it, though. You have to get a move off. And then now you just win. You just win straight up. You just double shield. Yeah, I like that play. It's a little weird to throw that close combat. You know, when you have 100 energy, they haven't thrown anything yet because they're waiting for you to debuff yourself. But the problem is if you don't land that bait, it actually gets a lot dicier, right? Because then, yeah, it's a big call from them not to shield there, but some players might. But I think overall that was pretty good. Let's see. Looking at it specifically, the lead matchup is fine. I think the only situation for that spot is maybe shielding here. I probably would shield that. Because if your opponent is making a heads-up play and reads that this is your only check to Metagross because you didn't swap out, right, your Rayquaza. I mean, there's many reasons why you might not swap out because you have so low health. But if they think like, oh, what if they have a Zacian or, I don't know, like it's something that's kind of weak to Metagross in the back, right, that Excadrill isn't, they could potentially just bullet punch you down and it gets really awkward, right? And if you think about it, Groudon's probably pretty good. They're not switch locked here. And Groudon's already going to beat Metagross. So, in all likelihood, if they're staying in here, that means that their third Pokemon, their final Pokemon, is also weak to Groudon. So, your Groudon has a lot of value here by shielding, right? If you shield once, I mean, you're in an incredible spot, right? You just straight fire punch the Excadrill, and you might not even need to use the Zacian, right? But I gotta say, overall, really solid battles. You know, I think there's a lot of really good fundamentals. And again, a 3-2 set, pretty good. Some of the stuff I'm saying here too is maybe personal preference, right? Like how you play out some matches. Some of it I think could be stuff that could be more like straightforward, like yeah, like you counter swap the Dialga with Zacian and stuff like that. But I think overall, really good fundamentals and understanding of the meta. Just a few things to work on, but really good optimized timings on the charge moves. I think it's some of it's just finding. I think just like the most important tip I would give Jesse here is knowing how to play out matchups, right? I think like especially GBL because it's blind threes, there's only so much variety sometimes, right? If someone safe swaps something, you don't know what they have in the back, right? So you can't strategize too much. I think the most important thing is just playing out matchups exactly the same, right? Dialga comes in, you play it out every time the same way with Zacian, right? Doesn't matter if they end up landing. Well, I guess no, they're going straight Iron Head out of the way, right? You play it out the same way every time. You see a Dragonite in the lead, you play it out the same way every time. Obviously, it takes some repetition to figure out what makes the most amount of sense. I think that first example of that Rayquaza against the Dialga, against the Dragonite, went no shielded Dragon Claw. Second time around, it shielded, right, and went way better as well. I think those adjustments and finding out, okay, well, now that I played out both scenarios, shielding that Dragon Claw made more sense. I'm going to shield next time with Rayquaza. And I think we actually kind of see Jesse make that adjustment throughout the 10 battles, which is kind of cool. But I think once you hammer out those specific matchups, essentially figure out the micro strategies of a lot of these specific head-on-head matchups for different Pokemon, I think you'll be well on your way onto Legend. Thank you to Jesse for submitting the footage, and of course, being first in any series is probably a daunting task, but hopefully the advice was helpful for those that are watching or for Jesse as well. And if you would like to get your own battles reviewed like this, feel free to send your 10 battles. Just do 10 battles in a row, just like what Jesse did. Upload it to Google Drive is probably the easiest way. Send me the link on my Twitter. Shoot me a DM that this is what you want me to do, and I'll get to it once I go through the queue of the other battles. For the time being, I'm going to limit submissions to 1 per person. So if you already submitted 10 battles, I probably won't review another set of 10 battles until way later, because I'm sure a lot of different people want to get their battles reviewed. But if you want any additional coaching from me or tips and advice, feel free to sign up in the Patreon link down below in my description. I provide a lot of detailed guides and strategies for my patrons, and then at the highest tier I provide one-on-one coaching. Thank you all for watching. If you like this video, feel free to give it a like and share, subscribe for future content, hit that notification bell to get alerted right when I post a new video, and I'll catch you all next time.